Hello everybody, my name is Adesonya Ayemisi and I work with iTreat. iTreat is your trusted partner when it comes to health and wellness. At iTreat Telemedicine, we connect healthcare providers to patients without anybody necessarily leaving the comfort of their homes. Well, today is World Anti-Obesity Day and we are excited to share what we know with you. Joining the conversation is Dr. Ada. She's a healthcare provider, a healthcare professional. She's an expert in the field of weight loss and healthy living. And she'll be sharing some very useful information and tips with us about obesity. We are very excited to learn and we hope you are too.
I'm Dr. Mba Adezimona. My friends call me Dr. Ada. So today, the World Obesity Day, I'll be talking to you about obesity on behalf of the iTreat organization. We know that obesity is a very interesting topic, and today the theme for the Obesity Day is Let's Talk About It, Obesity and. So that's a very interesting theme for me because obesity has a lot of associations. So the idea is that the World Health Organization wants us to open up conversations across organizations, across different age groups, across different genders, across different racial entities. They want us to open up this conversation because any change, really, any meaningful change is probably going to start from having these conversations in the first place. So what is obesity? Obesity has been defined by the World Health Organization as any excessive or abnormal accumulation of fat that is has potential health risks, right? It is any excessive weight, that is detrimental to health. And I actually love that definition because it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of condition, right? Somebody could actually be weighing 200 kg and be asymptomatic, may not have any disease condition and so on. Yes, they will definitely be at risk of one health condition or the other, but they may not be presenting with any issue at the time. However, you might find somebody who weighs a lot less, at about 80 kg or so, presenting with different health challenges. Remember the definition of obesity. Obesity is when you have excessive or abnormal fat accumulation that has potential or actual risk to the health. So we can have somebody who is actually weighing less with a lot of health complications, a lot of disease conditions that are weight related. So that definition fits, in explaining that the issues related to obesity can actually be defined as being individualistic. Having said that, how do we determine if somebody is obese or not? There is a simple, standardized way to measure our weight against height while considering the sex and the age of the person, and that is called the body mass index. So there's a simple calculation which is in different spaces online, and the body mass index helps us determine if somebody is overweight, obese, within normal weight, or underweight. And even the obesity can actually be classified into mild, moderate, or severe. So if the body mass index is more than 25, you're talking about the person being overweight. And when it is more than 30, you're talking about outright obesity. And like I said, obesity can actually be further subclassified. Now, you can actually Google body mass index. You have Google body mass index calculators all over the place. Fix in your parameters and you determine whether you are not within normal weight, underweight, overweight, and obese. And it's important to state here that when you get these calculations, these results, you should also discuss with your health professional, with your doctor, to know what challenges that could come with, because the body mass index in different regions, can have different implications. So, today we are opening up this topic, we are starting this conversation. Interestingly, I am a weight loss coach. I actually run an organization that is known as Stress Free Weight Loss. And stress free weight loss is all about getting you to lose weight in a healthy manner, in a sustainable way through lifestyle changes. Okay, and it is stress free because we incorporate every single thing that makes weight loss interesting. It's also very much individualized. Like I said, is weight issues is not a one size fits all thing. Obesity is not a one size fits all thing. Right, so what are the issues we focus on? I am currently working as a resident doctor in Lagos State, and I'll be talking about obesity in the Lagos State Nigerian context, right? So what are the main issues that we'll look at today when it comes to obesity? The first is poverty. The second is the sociocultural factors. The third that we're going to be looking at is occupational issues. Now let's look at poverty. People will usually say in our environment, okay, that obesity is the disease of the rich. And I asked somebody today and I said, is it really the disease of the rich? And I was talking to a colleague and she said, yes, of course, you have to have food, you have to be able to eat, to be obese, okay? And I asked her, have you ever thought about the market women you see, the traders you see by the roadside who are really obese? In fact, there are some of them who sit and cannot walk, right? Are you thinking about that too? Have you had that experience? Think about it. Have you been in the Nigerian cities? Have you been to the markets? Have you seen women who you can say are of the low social class, or middle class, being quite obese? Yes, and it's also important to state that obesity can be a very big issue when it comes to females. So, poverty in a way has something to do with our lifestyle, right? It has a lot to do with type of meals we consume. And in recent times, we've had this massive inflation all over the world, specifically in Nigeria too. And people find it more difficult to get the kind of food items that will help them to stay healthy. Okay, and I am sure you will agree with me that the cheaper food items are the unhealthier ones. And I was speaking with a colleague today too about this. And she had this argument that, well, these food items, if I have to have a balanced diet, it can be quite expensive, right? And I asked her, how about healthcare seeking? How about hospital bills? How about drugs? Everything is expensive. And we ended up saying, why don't you make your meals your medicine, right? Why don't you make your lifestyle your hospital? So it means that you can actually take up good lifestyle behaviors that will ensure that you are not obese, and then you don't suffer from the complications of obesity. You don't suffer from conditions or disease conditions that are related to obesity. And of course, we know those disease conditions: hypertension, diabetes, arthritis, and a host of others. Even cancer. Even cancer can have some relationship with obesity. So we've talked about poverty and obesity. The second thing we're talking about are the sociocultural factors. Growing up, I learned of a part of Nigeria where they have something called the fattening room. So if a woman is about getting married, she'll be taken to a place where she's taken care of. It's actually quite an interesting experience from the narration I got, because that doesn't happen in part of the country, right? So there she'll be taken care of, they'll bathe her, she'll feed her and all that. And make sure they feed her with items that will get her fat. Plumpy, quite big, And these are some of the cultural factors. The other aspect is the aspect of a woman gets married and doesn't put on weight in this part of the world. I don't know what happens where you are. And people worry like, is the husband actually taking care of her? Is she suffering? So here, fatness in a way, being fat, being obese, being of the big size, is usually associated with affluence. Is it always the case? Of course not. However, I would like to chip in that in the past few years, the enlightened and rich population of Nigeria have actually taken time to pay more attention to their health. And you see a number of affluent people taking to the gym, taking their walks, indulging in good lifestyle changes, absorbing good information and utilizing them. And you see them within the healthy weight range. So that is for social and cultural factors. And I want to also talk about one more thing, the occupational issue. I'm particularly interested in that because it affects me. Today, I had to take a walk around Asokoro in Abuja, and there were places where I could actually take a vehicle, and I decided I'm going to take that walk. And I realized that because I took that decision, I counted more numbers of steps than I usually would if I was actually going to be at the office, if it was a regular working day. And I realized too that the reason why I don't exercise so much is because I'm in a hurry to get the kids ready for work, and I'm rushing out to the office, and I do my work, and I get back home. I get to do the kids' assignments, get to do other tasks, prepare them for the next day, and I'm exhausted. I hardly have time to take these walks. And I'm not the only one. I also noticed that a lot of doctors have these same challenges. In fact, in the past few months, I take my friends and my colleagues to the stadium for fitness training every Saturday morning, just to make sure that we engage. We walk, we pay more attention to our health, and there are tremendous results. So that's another factor. I also want to mention the story of the high middle class who have jobs that take them from one part of the world to the other, one part of the country to the other. These jobs, makes it impossible for them to have a particular routine, and changing of environment also makes it difficult for them to actually pay attention to their health, eat right, exercise right, have the right associations, have the right companies, be more accountable. So you see how obesity affects us, right? Poverty is an issue, okay? Our sociocultural factors are issues, then occupational related challenges are also issues. How do we tackle this? The poverty aspect has a lot to do with food availability and food affordability. And we want to call on all stakeholders to pay more attention to the kind of meals that are available in our environment, the kind of things that are affordable, to pay more attention to agriculture, to pay more attention to encouraging farming, encouraging subsistence farming if need be. The second aspect, the sociocultural aspect, needs more engagement. People should understand. In the past years, my experience through weight loss coaching is that when people understand these issues, they understand the complications, the advantages and disadvantages of their lifestyle, a number of them make up their mind to make the changes, and they actually make those changes, and they have better lifestyles and they lose weight. Today I got one of my clients send a message and appreciated me for getting him to start losing weight. He started at 180 kg and today is about 161 kg. It is a journey we're going to do for like a year plus, and we're excited about it. Of course, some of the symptoms that he came in with have reduced drastically. And we also have seen in the past people make this lifestyle change. A few people who are hypertensive actually get off their antihypertensive medications. Of course, that is under strict medical supervision. We've seen people who are infertile who came to work on their weight, people who are obese, overweight, and we have 3 couples, who actually have achieved pregnancy because they had to control their weight. We've seen a lot of people go from one health challenge, to real freedom, to good health just because they worked on their weight. And the last one is the occupational aspect. And I want to encourage the working class. If your job is not giving you a good lifestyle, is making it difficult for you to pay attention to your health, then you may have to reconsider. You may have to find ways of taking good care of your health. And I want to conclude this part by mentioning the story of one of my clients who takes up about 2, 3, 4 jobs at a time, a mother who has kids to take care of, and she hardly has time for herself, already having health issues because of being overweight. And I did everything I could to make sure that she understands the implications of what she was doing, because you could make all the money, you could make all the name, and you could just slump and die, right? So these factors are things that we have to look into. If you're obese, if you're overweight, help is available. So on behalf of iTreat, I want to say, let's open up this conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about obesity. Let's talk about obesity and its associations, and let's do something about it. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Ada again. Have a lovely day.